Nice. So OpenSpec is this framework that we talk about we use in the agentic SDLC class. And why it's great for Claude is it gets you kind of started with the right tech specs and documentation that you need for coding anything, right? I found that OpenSpec for me gives me like a better understanding of what I'm building. And there's the YouTube link if you want to see my face. I don't know why I'm not able to get my cam working in here. It's extremely frustrating, but so it goes. Maybe I'll just do this here. That could work. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it just every time I activate camera here, it just doesn't do anything. Cool, but I'm here. I'm in the YouTube, so the YouTube link should show you me, and if you're somebody that likes to see your teacher, which is important, then that the YouTube link is a great place to do that. Cool. Yeah, OpenSpec. I love OpenSpec. I use it somewhat often. Sometimes it leads me astray, but sometimes it doesn't. And with that being said, let's have Claude kind of OpenSpec what we're working on here, because I think that's a good I don't know. It's a good thing to sort of show the class. All right, so OpenSpec kind of sets up the tech specifications for what you're working on. An issue that I'm having with the code right now, this like VR chat world project that we're building together, beyond like the obvious stuff like, oh, we brought in a lake, it didn't work. The 3D models are kind of moving around. Beyond that, like sort of technical game engine-y limitations of me not being like a AAA game developer and not understanding VR chat's default world scene and building with Udon and all that stuff. Um, this like this wall that I'm hitting kind of, and I'm open for y'all to brainstorm with me, but this wall that I'm hitting is how would we go about sharing code in a program like VR chat, right? So like how not only like once we're in verse, if we're wearing headsets or if we're using the standalone application on our computer, how we would share code in verse, that's one thing. We could get creative with that, but more so like if y'all wanted to work on this VR chat world and interact with it and be a developer on this VR chat world, what's the best dev workflow for setting that up? How would we even begin to contemplate sort of an SCM or like a CI/CD setup for a VR chat world? Because in my head, it'd be like beautiful to be able to actively code in verse and be like building these like beautiful things and coding like in front of ourselves within VR. There's a litany of reasons why you wouldn't want to open up a world to that sort of interaction. I mean, you could make it private to like specific users, but also if we just had a world that was like open for live prompting and coding of the space, number one, I think you're like really kind of creating a honeypot for the worst sort of like prompt injecty troll VR chat people to mess with you. Number two, because of those trolls, VR chat's kind of locked down to instances. What do I mean by that? Everything you kind of like containerize in a VR chat world exists in the space, and there's not a lot of functionality that you can add wherein the user is injecting nuance by way of code into the VR chat world. It's like I think it's like, take a moment and think about if you've ever played a game in which you could like actively build the game while you're in the game, and not like The Sims, like more of like a Gary's Mod sort of situation. Like rarely are you given the ability to manipulate the world around you with like kind of carte blanche, just do whatever unto the world as you want to. That being said, I'm open to suggestions on how we open up this world as a collaborative sort of way for people that are currently in the Learn to Code sessions, whether on YouTube or in campus, to build things within the world. Does anybody have any ideas? And no ideas are like for kind of getting in on this are bad. I'm like honestly I'm like picking my brain about it. I have a few ideas, but I'll share them after I get a couple ideas from the audience, because I feel like my ideas are maybe a little bit too hard coded to make sense. Does anybody have any ideas on how you would get up and running sharing code for the VR chat world? This is a little brainstorm build session. All right, let's open VR. Ba, ba, ba. No ideas. We're just thinking. We're deep in thought. That's cool. All right. So a couple ideas I had. The first one is that we're so within Unity. I might have to noodle on that. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about VR chat yet. Yeah, so we're in Unity when we build our VR chat world. So what we're using is a lot of these sort of these C# scripts, these U# scripts, these udon scripts. They are code, right? These are pieces of code that can be kind of opened up, dissected, explored, written. You could use Claude to write this code. You could use Claude to write tools and scripts within the scene for anything your heart could imagine. It could be a piece of code that lights a beautiful bonfire, or like a piece of code that provides the user with teleportation to other users, right? Anything you can think of. But it is code. It's text that can be copied and shared. So I was thinking like, oh, maybe we set up a GitHub that is just the scripts themselves organized within specific functionalities. So here are our objects, our pick-upable scripts. Here are our sort of helper tools, the scatter pine script or the lake generation script, right? And then it could be a thing of whenever I open up the Unity world, we run some sort of tool that pulls the GitHub repo, and if y'all have been updating your scripts overnight, it puts in the new working script into function as you're still running kind of like pull requests, and like I can check to see what works and what doesn't. The issue there is that if you were coding alone on your computer on the VR chat world, how would you test out the functionality of your script on the world, right? So in the YouTube chat, somebody says, agree, Git is okay with non-code type files like Git is Git okay with non-code type files like CAD type files for objects which can be kind of big? No, it's not. It's actually really not. There's Git LFS, large file storage. I think you have to pay for it. Then there's something called Plastic SCM, which is like a more GUI version of Git, where it's like you are seeing these like branches left to right. I've worked with it before. The thing about Unity and version control is they haven't really made up their mind, and they like update their sort of version control stack pretty often. Plastic SCM would be a way that everyone could download the full like source file, Unity file of the world, work on it together. I'm gonna look up like VR chat, multiple people collaborating on a world. Cool. Feedback on world group linking, group user generated worlds. It's annoying because there's like developer. This is where the sort of like developer thought form strays from like people just like being in a world together in VR chat. I don't know if you ever have that issue with applications that you're working with, where like you're not looking for support for like how to play the game or use the application. You're looking for support on how to develop the application, but that happens often with VR chat. So this might be something that's better to kind of like hash out with Claude. And let's see. Oh wait, I closed my Whisper. Because Claude can just like scour for the right support commands or the right support Google stuff. So I want you to look at this Unity project. It is a VR chat world that we're building together. I need to know the best way to collaborate on a VR chat world with a group of people that is within the range of 5 to 12 people. It needs to be quick, and bonus points if there's a way for others to have access to the source code on their machine. Do people still use plastic? What, if any, solutions has the VR chat community found for groups of people collaborating on building a VR chat world together? I'm halfway to unlocking my voice profile. Wow. I don't know what that means. Um, yeah, so, and we'll see if Claude can even help with that. It seems like something that people would have a solution for. Multiple users working on the same world VR chat. Switch into YouTube. Cool. Yeah, I'm on the YouTube. I'm on the tube. A shared Google Drive for the heavier files. See, then you're getting into this realm of like, might as well use plastic at that point. So what is plastic? Plastic. Unity version control. So cross-platform commercial distributed version control tool. This person says plastic SCM is such a joke. Made it an absolute nightmare to
Job is
collaborate
done.
on projects. All right. All right. So Git is the community standard. VRChat's own team uses Git. Okay, obviously, but like, it's what they officially recommend. The VRChat creator even auto generates a proper Git ignore for you. Cool. So does Git. Plastic SCM still exists. Has a free tier for 3 seats. Handles binary files better, but the VRChat community overwhelmingly uses Git and GitHub/GitLab. The big pain point: merge conflicts on scenes slash prefabs. Number one reason Unity collaboration is hard: it serializes scenes and prefabs as YAML, and when two people touch the same scene file, you'll get ugly conflicts. Solution is an architecture-first approach where you break your world into many prefabs and each person works on their own prefab and scene. This is the most important thing you can do. Git attributes, mark star.unity, star.prefab, star.asset as binary. So Git doesn't try auto merging them. Unity YAML merge. Unity's built-in smart merge tool set asset serialization to force text in project settings. And then Git merge for Unity. It's a free open source tool with a UI for resolving scene prefab conflicts. What I'd recommend for your class. All right, Git and GitHub. Everyone clones the repo. Everyone has the source. If people have VCC, which is VR Chat Creator Companion, it keeps SDK versions in sync across the team. A prefab-based world structure: assign each student or pair a section of the world as their own prefab, and then they work in their own test scene, and you integrate it to the main scene at checkpoints. Discord channel, we don't really need that. We have Matrix. Force text serialization from day one. Quick comparison. Cool, so we're probably not going to use plastic just because this 3 free seats is the letdown. So what does all that mean when it says number one reason Unity collaboration is hard is that Unity serializes scenes and prefabs as YAML. So, gosh, I always forget what YAML stands for. Does it really stand for that? YAML is it's a recursive acronym that stands for YAML ain't markup language. Um, so the Y in YAML stands for YAML, just like one of the P's in PHP stands for PHP. Um, and I hate developers when they make things recursive acronyms. It's annoying to me. Come up with the Y should stand for something. Um, anyways, a human readable data serialization language, right? So this is what we get from YAML is these prefabs, right? So human readable, what does that mean? When I open up any of these files within VS Code over here, if I go to a scene and I click grid floor underscore udon.mat, this is a material file, but look at this. I have human readable text here, right? So in theory, this would be something that can be shared within a group-based Git account, right? Where the issue comes into play is when we start bringing in our own custom models that are not built from primitives within Unity. So multiverse forest.fbx, right? This is our Blender file. Files not displayed in the text editor because it's either binary or uses an unsupported text encoding. Let's open it anyway, right? That is not human readable. Definitely not human readable, right? But we see some semblance of text here that makes sense-ish. Maybe some like Blender boilerplate, maybe something that Unity adds on the back end. Do I know? No. This is like kind of like over my head. I'm not a machine. And then we get into just like arcane jester chaos, your computer's magic, and it keeps secrets from you so that it can work and make crystals shoot light at the right time so that you can make games on it, right? Like that's what's happening, right? And so big pain point. Unity collaboration is hard. Unity serializes scenes and prefabs as YAML. So if two people touch the same scene file, you get these ugly conflicts, right? The serialization of scenes is what causes the conflict, right? Because you aren't actively encoding and decoding your files when you post them to Git. You would need some sort of like secondary layer or application or tool that essentially makes sure that data is sane, and you can't you can't ever guess. Like I couldn't guess how like Eric's computer is gonna serialize a prefab. There's no standard for just like putting like all of our stuff in the same sort of like serialized costume and making it work. So their solution for this is this git attributes file. So it doesn't merge any of the attributes. Like so when the assumption now is if I were to pull code from the like if anyone had made a pull request on Git, that I would then have my own serialized version of that on my machine, right? It gets kind of confusing, but if you don't kind of force text serialization from day one, like it says here, the files are going to start like having this like data drift, and you'll immediately notice in your Unity scene, because not only will this thing not test or build, it won't compile at all. You will not be able to play it. And so the advice here is, if you're somebody who wants to pull in your own custom CAD files, or like pull something in from Blender, that we would have to figure out a way to share those. Or, there's another, like, the Unity has an asset store, so you can find a lot of stuff in the Unity asset store. I found these trees in the asset store. I found this hideout thing in the asset store. I did not build this. And you can use, where is the asset store? If you have a Unity set up on your computer, I don't even think you need to have it set up on your computer to make an account. You could search for whatever you're using. Like, let's say like we wanted like an ogre or something, and we wanted it to be free because we're not paying. So this is RPG Ogre Pack. It's PBR. It's free. It's a bunch of different colors. This is great, You could either share that link in like a README part of your Git, like feature branch or pull request or whatever, so that like, and then use like maybe like a capsule or a square or some primitive geometry to like block out where the ogre is. And then you'd share the link, and we could pull the ogre into the Unity editor and get that working in our file. So there are ways to kind of work around the limitations of not having access to Git LFS, or more than 3 seats in plastic SCM, and that would be getting creative with how we're sharing our large 3D files. From the looks of it, everything beyond large 3D files are like really complex particle effects. Seems like it's in this this YAML, this like kind of human readable data serialized language that allows for the sharing of our code. So the next step would be getting us into a GitHub repo to kind of share code, and then setting up, getting Claude maybe to set up an automation so that we could pull in people's feature builds and test them in the world, which sounds like a lot, but this is what Claude is made for. So we're not giving Claude context on like how to build lakes or make the world beautiful or make it like more gamified and fun for us. We're giving Claude context on how to set up the dev workflow, right? Let the computer, you're the artist, right? You're the developer, you're the creative coder at the end of the day. Let the computer talk to the computer and do this. Like, take it back to this place of like, and you could say what you want about like generative AI art. I feel like the discourse is equal parts like toxic and also like makes sense to some degree, right? So you can say what you want about AI art, but the thing is, like, again, we're not going to like unring this bell of AI being out in the world. So as developers, we kind of have a vested interest in using AI to do the boring stuff that we don't want to do, right? Like if you're actively using AI to like you know, like jam for you, to like draw for you, to make movies for you, like um that's, you know, one thing if you weren't jamming or drawing or making movies before AI existed, but it's another thing if you're like blanking on how to like promote your art or organize your desktop to store all your art files or whatever, you know? Like have the fucking have sorry, swearing. Have Claude set up your systems, right? Like convert your problems to systems, right? Don't convert your art to systems. That doesn't make any sense. So, and Claude's actually really, really, really bad at making art. Like, it just is. When we tell it to make a lake, it kind of makes a lake, and it screws up the entire scene, right? And that's no offense to Play. It was a great idea. I didn't know that it would do that. But you know, there's certain things it's good at, certain things it's not great at, and that's kind of what we're learning here. So, without further ado, let's just pull this frickin' this ogre in here, and so when you import an asset into your scene, it'll come in as whatever the file's called. So this one's just like called ogre, and it might be behind my head on the YouTube. Yeah, so and then what you're going to want to look for if you want to just really quickly pull an object into the scene is not the mesh, not the texture, not the material, the prefab, or you want to open a demo scene to see how this thing works. But prefabs are usually your go-to for the like final object, right? Maybe it has some animations. So let's pull in M Ogre Blue War Paint. And then we'll turn him around and we will, he's not animated or anything. So maybe we set up an animator. Did it come with animations? I don't know. I'm going to save this scene real quick and go to the demo scene, and then play it to test to see if these ogres are animated. They're not. They're not animated. That's okay. So we'll go back here. There's our ogre, beautiful. VRChat SDK. We can build and test. This person says, I was about to say make readmes for each bigger CAD file so people can add them themselves, but using Claude is so much better. Yeah, no, like if we can figure out an eloquent way to maybe within those readmes share links, or I mean, you could even do it in Unity if you wanted to. There's a reality in which people collaborating on this site or on this VR chat world wouldn't need Unity to do so. I know that sounds crazy, but there's some weird stuff going on with the skyline too. I don't know. Cool. Wow. Oh my God. Trees everywhere. There's my torch. Ogres in the scene. And there's a past version of me there. And I can walk through the ogre because it doesn't have colliders on it, but it's there, looking cool. And for the most part, I like it, but let's make it actually daytime. Revert to night and then apply daytime lighting. What is with this black? It's like black, the black top of the, I don't know, skybox stuff. Anyways, so ogre's in there. Cool. While we're thinking about that, I am going to, first of all, grab today's class and have that playing by default from our Udon player. So that's as easy as copying that here, add component, or enter, loop, autoplay. Alright, cool. That's going to be annoying for people. Build and test your world. Build and publish your world online. Alright. Copyright. We'll give the ogre artist and the hideout artist and everyone credit. They're great assets. We love them. What else? Alright, so Claude. Back to Claude. This all sounds great. Can we set up this this Git dev workflow with all the files in Unity? And I also want to have a way for people who are collaborating on the repo to be able to share links to either Unity assets or 3D model files, whether it's in like a Google Drive or some sort of other shareable form, for use with their prefabs. The user story would be I make my feature build, my fork of the Multiverse School VR chat world, and I build a prefab. I put in a primitive block out for the ogre character, and then I share a link to that asset to then be swapped in for the ogre. Is there a way we can build this tooling within our Unity project? And now we're making like little solutions to things that, you know, VR chat developers probably have figured out, but maybe haven't, you know? So we'll go back to my home world. I don't know if it saved yet. It might still be in the process of, oh, the upload succeeded. That was quick. Ba, 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 ba. All right, there we go. Now it's bright and gross, and we got an ogre. And I'm right here. And we're gonna get some feedback. We'll go back to my home world. There I am. I don't know if it saved yet. It might still be in the process of, oh, the upload succeeded. That was quick. Wow, I'm just like doxing phone numbers on my screen like that all the time, and nobody's saying anything. All right, there we go. Come on. Now it's bright and gross, and we got an ogre, and I'm right here. And we're gonna get some feedback. So cool. We'll go back to my home world. Now we're at the point where it's there I am. I don't know if it cool, but that's how you really bring you don't see anything? Okay, yeah. Very cool. We got this one random block right here. All right. Wonderful. Ooh, 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 ooh. Cool. Let's go back to Unity. Why is the sky black at the top? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why the sky is black at the top. It's weird. Anyways, that's just a little thing we'll have to deal with. So now we have Claude working on this new and improved Git repo project structure for collaborating on things, and I know that it's a little bit confusing, but the goal is for us to get up and running with collaborating on this project. And the launch pad. How do I save? How do I invite people here? Let's see if any of you are on my friends. I don't know. Phil Snow. I don't know who these people are. Yep. None of you are online, but that's okay. Just me. Just hanging out as Funky Kong by myself. It's cool. It's whatever. But yeah. Alright, so to collaborate on this thing, JSON manifest an editor window. Now this gives everyone a UI inside Unity to browse, share assets, add their own, and click through to the download links. Cool, and so I will make this a new repo. We'll call it VRChat World Repository for the Multiverse School. And we'll make it public, and we'll create the repo. Throw that in there. We'll throw that in here. And we will throw that in here, a scene is a scene has a bit more of context. A scene is like within Unity. A scene's kind of like a level. Um, uh, so all of the our level kind of exists in this VRC default world scene. Um, and if we were making like a game, we would make, there would be like a menu scene. There would be like an options scene. There would be a level 1 scene,
Job is
level
done.
2 scene, maybe a hub scene. Um, so the scene holds the world, and then it also holds this VRC world prefab, which sets up this script called VRC Scene Descriptor, and also a pipeline manager. Um, so these are kind of almost like the boilerplate code for having the scene set up in Unity for to be a VR chat world. But when you're working in Unity and you make a scene, it's like an empty space to build your level or build out whatever functionality for your game. Um,
And that could be the same area, but just in a different state.
um, no, it's actually a different like it's like a different see or yes, it could be in the same area in a different state, yes, but it is a different instance of that area, right? Um, so how do I put this? Yeah, it's like
The reason I'm asking, like, I have very little understanding of Unity, but ever since I've seen spec-driven development, I'm kind of like always thinking about horizontal slices. And
yeah,
so it seems like the horizontal slice here is the scene, and that's more of a state than a area.
yeah. It's yeah, you can have the same like, but you would need all the same components in that scene for it to feel like the same area. You could copy scenes; they could be in different states, um, but they could also be completely like separate components.
Gotcha. So it's always an instance.
Yeah, it's like its own instance. Like there's not really context within a scene of the other scenes without like directly linking them somehow. The context only like exists in the transition, or in certain cases you could have like windows to other scenes within your scene. Um, uh, like there you wouldn't do that for like a VR chat world ever, but there'd be reasons to do it in other games. Um, like you
Kind of
set
just
up,
like class inheritance.
yeah, or like maybe there's a scene that's like your inventory system with like a character selector, and so you set up a scene that's like almost like a separate UI where you have like a spinning character and like all the selectors for that scene, but it exists outside of the scene, so you're not like calling that those models or that code whenever the scene is running, because a lot of this is like you're you're thinking about sort of the limitations of what your resources are, what you're rendering into the scene, and with the VR chat world, like we're working with like kind of low resources, assuming uh, mobile architecture in certain cases with some of these VR headsets, right? So, but it's 2026, so now this ogre, which to me looks kind of nice ish. You know, it's not the worst in the world. Um, uh, well, I'm typing into this. That's weird. Um, is is an option to bring into to VR chat. So let's see what Claude did here. Um, Get attributes, Unity YAML files configured for Unity's Smart Merge tool, no LFS dependency. Um, Next step, auth with GitHub in this terminal. Authenticate through Bash. We already have access to that. We already have access. Yeah, push or commit and push. We're not going to do the git LFS thing. But once you're done, can you walk me through like a simple workflow of pushing to this GitHub repo as a developer on the on the repo itself? So basically end to end, I want to know how I would add in a file with functionality to the VR chat world, up to the point of committing that, pushing that, having a pull request, merging that pull request, and then building and testing and building and pushing that to the final VR chat world. Thank you. All right. Cool. And Claude will work on that. Is there any ideas that we have for the VR chat world that could be like little tests that we push to it? Anything y'all want to add, or like an area of the world that you have ideas for? What is this?
Job is done.
All right, so we start fresh. Why does it want me to run this auth login? Oh, we're authenticated. I think this world is just way too huge. Maybe that's the first thing, is making the world itself smaller. So seeing if that resize could get stored in the YAML somehow without... Oh, and then there's something here that's like weird. What is that? Headphones? Those are headphones. So weird. Alright, tomfoolering. And I'll get that in there. Bees. No, they're headphones. They're randomly just headphones being weird. The forest feels like it needs a go-kart track. Oh yeah. I think it does. I think it does. could start building a go-kart track maybe. There I am. Yeah, too many trees. What is that? Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Might have a hard time loading all of this in. Maybe we could start building the go-kart track because I like that idea and it's fun. Yeah. That's, yeah. Imagine how different the world would be if the Egyptians just had a streaming rectangle which showed how they built the places you are in. That's a good thing to think. All right, so around here, there's things happening. Maybe that's what this becomes, is the beginning of our go-kart track. So let's, what does a go-kart track even look like? Let's make this a different color. And maybe we'll do this. And then go-kart track has let's give that a mirror. Is that not the right? Huh. Why is this not mirroring? It doesn't make any sense. All right, there we go. That's how a mirror works. And go-kart, we'll do that. Maybe a little thing like that, you know, blockers. And then we're off to the races. Okay. Array. Bop, 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 bop. Let's make it blue. Or maybe we'll make this black. So we're making your go-kart track right now, so get stoked. And it's so cool. And wow, that's what a go-kart track looks like. So we have this. Move that a little bit over there, and curve. curve is gigantic. All right, we're going to set up a curves to follow it in the path. All right, so let's. I need to get back into model. Yeah, me too. I like have no idea what I'm doing half the time. All right. Oh wow. Well, we'll see. It's a fun start. All right, and you're like, what are you even doing right now? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to make a go-kart track and guessing offset, object offset. Maybe we. Oh no, that's not. Constant offset, maybe. Fit curve. That's the ticket. All right. So fit curve, Bezier curve, and I don't know. Well, that's failing. So whatever. It's like not pushing. Maybe because the file's so huge. Um, it's weird. Uh, huh. I'm so confused. Is it build? Anyways, Blender's weird. I can't figure it out. I'm just going on a rabbit hole with that. It is 11:08, and Claude is still just not being able to push this thing. So let's see if it did get anything up to the repo. The repo has stuff in it. Okay. So the repo does have stuff in it right now. But
Job is done.
is there a way to actually.
Job is done.
The workflow guide covers the full loop from fork to VR chat publish. Want me to save any of this to a separate contributing. Let's see. building view, write C# scripts, fork this repo, clone your fork to your computer, pick a template, copy it into the correct default. Alright, so there's an entire walkthrough here on how to get started with it. And some homework for y'all if you actually want to start adding stuff to the world. Submit them to GitHub, right? And if you don't have Unity downloaded on your computer, you can download Unity on your computer. You can get the Creator Companion with VR Chat if you actually want to test out what you're building in the game world. If that's not a huge concern to you, you can just play around with the C# of it all. There's some little templates to start from. Apparently, there's a color changer. Make an object that changes colors when clicked, and a spinning object, right? So if we go to Unity and we find assets, student scripts, let's give this a refresh. Spinning object, and we throw this on our ogre. It says selected behavior program source reference is not valid. Okay. I don't know what it's gonna do then. Let's see. No, he's not spinning. He's not
Job is
spinning.
done.
I'll take that off. Remove component, student scripts, day 1 objects, day 2, day 3 polish. Spinning object. Selected U# behavior program source reference is not valid. Getting a source reference is not valid on spinning object. Alright, so let's open this and see what's going on here, because this should be the easiest script. This is like Unity 101 is making an object spin. So maybe its class architecture is incorrect. Commenting stuff out. Has a bunch of floats set up. Bobbing motion using a sine wave. That's fun.
Job is done.
Why is it Jordan Spinner?
Job is done.
The way I typed that was so dumb. Alright. It doesn't work at all. And we'll copy that.
Job is done.
Why couldn't we put it on a prefab? Doesn't make any sense. If it makes this cube spin and not the ogre, I'm gonna be pissed off. work on our cube either. It doesn't work.
Job is done.
Alright, here's a spinning cube. Rotating cube, udon. We'll create a U# script. Rotating cube. We'll open this.
Job is done.
No, none of it's rotating. What the heck? Oh. Oh, there you go. Alright. We'll figure it out. There's a lot of trial and error with this game devy stuff. Like what works in the VR chat SDK? What works in Unity? What works when you're playing the game from Unity but doesn't work in the world when you pushed it? If this is frustrating to you, good, because it is frustrating that it's so hard to make a little ogre spin in the game that you're building. If it's not frustrating to you and it's fun, good, because it should be fun. We're making a blue ogre spin around in a virtual world that we can all go into in VR or, on our computers. But there's a lot to learn about coding and developing games. And again, this is like a really fun jumping off point to help visualize what we're doing with code. It is 11:17, so I'm going to head out. I implore all of you to check out the repo that we posted, and if you really want to add some stuff to the make a pull request to the repo. This walks you through setting it up. Am I 100% on this actually functioning? No, because Claude spun this up, and you can't just trust Claude to one-shot these things. But yeah, check it out and see if it works for you. And hopefully we can check our crab pot tomorrow morning. And there's some nice little scripts that we can test from the class. If you don't have any interest in sending through your scripts, I'm gonna kind of be tweaking the site. I would love to see y'all in VR, and we'll keep on this sort of VR chat world for tomorrow, but then back to the grind of normal computers after this week. So we'll see what we can have finished by tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be, I feel like, more game jammy, so that we can get the world out the door, so we have something to show the people in VR chat to represent who we are at the Multiverse School. So yeah, it was fun working with y'all today. Enjoy your days, and won't you code something? just code a single line of code. Have a good day, y'all. I'll